Hi, I'm here again tonight, and I'm going to pick up kind of right where I left off. So I left you guys on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Last night I read the last part of the chapter. The preliminary hearing is over, and the judge has ruled that, in the opinion of this court, there's not enough evidence to charge Officer Moore with excessive force, manslaughter, or murder. So I don't know if that's what you might have expected or if that is what you expected. So that's kind of an interesting conversation to have. So we pick up now with the chapter. It's called School and After, and it is after the preliminary hearing. All right. It's May. Dandelions are white now. Puffs of seeds float, reseeding the grass and vacant lots. School will be over in 6 weeks. Every morning, Carlos meets Kim. He says "Hola" to Grandma and grips Kim's heavy backpack. Thanks, she answers, a little breathless. I follow behind them, but today I panic. Mike, Eddie, and Snap are at the top of the stairs, standing sentry-like in front of the school doors. Other kids don't ask them to move. They just swarm, flow around them. I'm scared. Mike, Eddie, and Snap never bullied Kim, but maybe that's changed now. I howl, no reaction. I cannot protect Kim. Grandma, worried, shouts, "Kim!" sensing danger. "It's okay," Carlos shouts back, and Grandma sways side to side, her arms crossed over her stomach. Carlos holds Kim's hand. Rail thin, he isn't much taller than Kim. He's not a match for one bully, let alone 3. Wary, Kim watches Carlos. I do too, worrying Carlos is going to pull another toy gun. Even a toy brings cops, endangers Kim. I keep circling Kim, Snap, Eddie, Mike, Carlos, wishing I could be visible, alive again, keep my little sister safe. Feet planted strong, Carlos says, "Kim is my familia." Fiercely he repeats, "Ella is mi familia." Eddie steps 1 step down, face to face with Carlos, closer to Carlos and Kim. I scream, no one hears. Eddie offers his hand. "Bueno, con respeto," he says loud enough for everyone to hear. Some kids stop, peer. Others keep walking, their heads down. Carlos smiles. Eddie turns to Kim. "I'm sorry about your brother." I worry that Kim's going to call him a bully, but she's smart. Eddie can still make life hurt for her and Carlos. She simply says, "Thanks." Relieved, everyone smiles. Carlos and Kim wave at Grandma. Eddie, Mike, and Snap walk close behind them. Kids stare. All 4, Carlos, Eddie, Mike, and Snap, walk my sister to class. Not quite a new alliance, just a truce. I sit on the school steps and cry, not unhappily, but happy. How come life seems better now that I'm dead? Not even the bullies are bullies anymore. While I still ache for Ma and Pop, Grandma and Kim are moving on, and Carlos helps. Life is better. When will I get to move on? When will Emmett, the other boys, the other ghost boys? I stand yelling. No one hears me or sees me. I yell and yell. Not fair! The school bell rings. Carlos walks Kim home. He snaps a tree branch, then snaps it again. Drumsticks. He taps, taps, building steps and metal trash cans. Quick, snapping, sharp. Both of us are like percussion. Maybe we could have saved money to buy drumsticks. Kim skips, dances. Birds skitter and glide. Even the sun seems to smile. My sister is having fun again. She shouts, "Faster, faster!" I dance alongside them. They can't see me. Carlos taps on a trash television in the street. The plastic cover makes a deep, hollow sound. The glass tube sounds high, sharp. My sister wiggles out of her backpack straps. She twirls and twirls, and an old man sitting on his front stoops claps. 2 women snapping pole beans on their porch grin and shout, "Dance, girl!" And as other girls spin too, Carlos keeps the rhythm, enjoying sun, music, being alive. I'm happy for my sister. Kim stops. Her pigtails are undone. 1 sock is squished, flopped down to her ankle. She's a mess, a smiling mess. Then her smile disappears. Carlos stops tapping and making rhythms. Folks lose interest. 2 girls go back to playing jacks. "Okay, are you okay?" Her face is somber, strained like when we hear shots outside our apartment window, or when the upstairs neighbors fight. "You're going to have to tell Grandma." Carlos shrinks. He seems even more out of place. Again, just like a Texas kid in Illinois. He hands his tree sticks to a boy with the backwards baseball cap. "You're going to have to tell her." Yes. I feel bad for Carlos. Tell no lies. Sitting on my family's apartment steps, everybody's talking. I never realized folks talk so much. Little kids, old people, the men standing, rapping, gabbing on the corner. When folks are telling stories, the neighborhood is warm. It's like it glows inside out. The streets smell of barbecue and greens. Everybody's got a story. Did I tell you? Did I tell you about my bad hip, my boss, my b-boy moves, growing up in Carolina? Did I tell you I got an A in math, about my car getting jacked, finding a dead baby bird? Did I tell you why I cried, how I got hurt, how I howled, found my lost dog, how my daddy got sick, how blue crayons are happy and orange crayons are sad? Me, how I died. Kim's right. Carlos has to tell Grandma his story. She can't tell it. Carlo has to tell how he gave me the toy gun. Just like Emmett has to tell me his story, but he says I'm not ready to hear it. Is that why I'm here? To get ready? Ghost boys haunt. One by one, they appear. Several boys wearing hoodies, sports t-shirts, overalls. There's a kid who looks like he's 8. Another kid, Tamir, with a toy gun. Ghosts fill the street. Some stand in front of or beside the living. 2 worlds. Grandma was right. Dead, living, both worlds are close. Every goodbye ain't gone. Even though life ends, it also doesn't end. Mr. Anders' beagle, Joey, barks. Shh, hisses Mr. Anders. Joey sniffs. I think. Good boy. Good dog. It's half moon. Emmett appears. All the ghosts watch him. Was he the first black boy to be killed? Nah, I don't believe that. Slavery was awful. Afterwards, Pop said the KKK began lynching. Ghost boys nod, step back, high five. Emmett's the leader of our crew. An unnatural alliance. Young, but dead. I understand now. Everything isn't all about me. Listening. What happened to you? What went down? Me and Emmett are alone. Ghost boys have disappeared like they know it's time for Emmett's tale. Neighbors are asleep. The moon shines. Moths flit. It's garbage day tomorrow. Rats dig inside pails, eat through plastic bags. My neighborhood's poor, segregated. Until I started wondering, I didn't know by how much. Didn't know how much I was living in a danger zone. But why did cops fear me? Are you ready to hear? I nod. Emmett sighs. Let's go to my home. 2 shakes and we're there. A 2-story brick house with squat, deep steps and an awning to keep rain off the landing. West Woodland. My mother and I lived on the top floor. His apartment isn't far from where my family lives. Has our neighborhood always been poor? Emmett speaks slowly. My great-uncle Moses Wright and his wife Elizabeth lived in Money, Mississippi. My cousins Curtis Wheeler and I begged to visit them. We wanted to play with Simeon, Robert, and Maurice. 6 boys, almost enough to field a team. Plus, Maurice said he'd take us fishing. 4 rivers passed near his home, and there were 7 deep lakes. Can you imagine? I wanted to see all that water. My uncle was a sharecropper, but he lived in the nicest tenant house on Frederick Plantation. It was a rundown shack with a tin roof, but it had 2 bedrooms in the front and 2 in the back. Me and my cousins slept in blue metal beds and shared boxes for our clothes. Happy. We didn't mind. Dirt poor people, Mother used to say. That's why I left Mississippi, because I didn't want to be a sharecropper picking cotton. Dirt poor, Emmett repeats. A stinky outhouse, an ice box with real ice, not electricity to cool food. But I loved being with my Mississippi cousins. They roamed. In Chicago, Mother never let me roam. Emmett's head falls back. I think he's looking at the sky, but he isn't. His eyes are closed. A shudder shakes him. He looks at the ground, then back at me, his eyes widening pools. It pulls me in like I'm going to drown. After an overnight train ride, I arrived in Money, Mississippi, August 21st. August 28th, I died. I'm not on the outside anymore. I'm inside, in an old-time black and white movie. Emmett's telling his story by making me feel. Standing on the roadside, I watch Emmett alive again, living in his world. Oak trees arch, cypress trees hang, grass is knee-high, crows soar and screech, woodpeckers peck. Squirrels scamper, Emmett and his cousins play. The air is hot, hotter than Chicago's, and though I can't feel it, I can see wet in the air. Sweat cloaks everybody. Emmett wears his rimmed hat. He still looks like a chipmunk, but not now with skin plump and fresh. Emmett's laughing, his shoulders brushing against Maurice's. He likes Maurice best. He's the oldest, the big brother. They wrestle, half serious. Come on, Simeon shouts. Everyone runs, kicking up dust, stumbling over rocks, running through the forest. The cousins run to the river. Emmett's hat falls. I try to shout, Emmett, your hat! But Wheeler points at Simeon. He's the youngest, littlest. Emmett nods. Then him and Wheeler lift Simeon, dumping him in the river. It's so hot. Simeon doesn't mind. Robert and Maurice laugh. Let's go to town. Maurice pivots back towards Emmett, resting his hands on his shoulders. He says, serious. Say yes, ma'am. No, sir, to white people. Don't look anybody white in the eyes. Emmett throws a stone. It skips across the water and sinks. You're not my uncle. My mother either. Don't be stupid, Emmett. This is Mississippi. I know it's Mississippi. Sidestep if white people are walking on the same street. Step into the road if you have to. Let whites pass first. Emmett wipes sweat from his forehead, muttering, Not afraid of white people. No one but me hears. Town isn't much. Dirt roads, wood sidewalks. A few stores with porches. Segregated. Black and white men play checkers and drink soda outside. Countrymen in denim. Women in flowery dresses. 2 black girls skip. The day is sunshiny and bright. The biggest store is Bryant's grocery store and meat market. Maurice says, the Bryants sell mostly to blacks. White folks drive to Greenwood. They've got much better stores. Bryants have bubble gum? Asked Emmett. Be careful. Don't say nothing, piped Simeon, his clothes still wet. Scornful, Emmett boasts. Life's different in Chicago. I talk with white people all the time. No, you don't, scolds Simeon. I do. I'll show you. He heads towards the store. Don't, says Simeon. Think I'm scared? Simeon grips Emmett's shoulder. Emmett shrugs him off. Don't. My voice makes no sound. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Emmett, don't be stupid. Here's different, says Simeon. Fierce, desperate. Tell him, Maurice. Folks don't care about black people. Don't like black people. Don't even believe we're people, says Maurice, sorrowful. Emmett doesn't listen. He walks into the store. Not much of a store. Some chips, penny candy, cold sodas, bags of flour, sugar, salt. A woman with long brown hair sits on a stool behind the counter. She's pale with red lipstick and brown eyes. Emmett digs out a purple bubble gum from a bin and puts a penny in her hand. He walks away, not seeing the woman's outrage. I see it. Hatred. At the doorway, he stops, turns, and smiles. Goodbye. Wordless, I holler, Run, Emmett! Like I tried to run. Simeon leaps onto the porch. You spoke to her? Yeah, said goodbye like I would in Chicago, but I put the penny in her hand. You put the penny in her hand? So? Simeon hops, twists like the ground is on fire. He drags Emmett toward the cousins. He speaks rapidly, squeaking. Touched her. Robert trembles. Wheeler asks, What's wrong? Curtis, like Emmett, is dumbfounded. We've got to go, insists Maurice. Why? What's wrong? Emmett stutters. Mrs. Bryant bolts out of the store. Her yellow dress flaps. She's fetching her pistol, warned Simeon. Stunned, Emmett can't move. No one can. They're paralyzed. Mrs. Bryant flings open her car door, reaches inside. What's wrong? Anxious, his voice pitches high. What's wrong? Sounds whistle. The white lady glares at Emmett like he's a monster. She thinks he's mocking, whistling at her. A crowd gathers. White men, women, even some kids. Black people, heads lowered, step, slide away, disappearing, escaping. Even dead, I can feel and smell the danger. Run! Screams Maurice. Run! Echoes Simeon. Emmett runs, fast as he can. He can't run fast enough. Emmett pauses, closes his eyes, then mutters, I begged my cousins not to tell my uncle and aunt. I don't want to be sent back to Chicago, I said. I was young, embarrassed. I didn't understand the trouble I was in. But you didn't do anything wrong. Emmett almost fades. Then I see the shape of him, more focused and bold. What mattered was what they, the white people, thought I had done. It gets worse. See? And I stare into his eyes. Past midnight, the house is cloaked in darkness. 2 white men burst into the shack, guns pulled, flashlights startling, searching faces. Everyone's howling, frightened. Aunt Elizabeth runs toward the back bedroom. They follow her. Emmett's face is caught in the flashlight's glow. Get up. Get dressed. Petrified, Emmett wets himself. He pulls his overalls over his pajamas. He's a child. Not from here, his uncle pleads and begs. He didn't know. A man with black curls and a short-sleeved white shirt slams him against the wall. How old are you? 64. You make any trouble and you'll never live to be 65. Simeon grabs hold of Emmett's leg, trying to keep the men from dragging him away. The second man kicks him. Simeon Wells clutches his stomach. Wheeler holds his brother. Emmett screams, "Mama! Mama!" His uncle and cousins are shouting, begging, pleading on the porch. Emmett's pushed into a truck's cab. He's caught between two men. One drives, one keeps punching Emmett. "Teach you! I'm gonna teach you! You talk sass! Nobody disrespects my wife!" Bam! 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 Emmett's face swells. And I'm going to stop there, and then we'll pick up tomorrow with the rest of Emmett's story. All right. See you tomorrow.